Hi, welcome to Coffee with Becky. Thank you for joining me today. This week I've been hearing from some pastors' wives who are discouraged because October is Pastor Appreciation Month and their churches haven't honored them or ministered to them. I know that we were in a church that ministered to the senior pastor, but not the rest of the staff. And it is discouraging, I can admit that. But this week I decided I needed to look at our example. Who is our example in this? Well, it's Jesus. And Jesus went about doing good, didn't he? He ministered to people, he healed, he taught, he loved on the people. But who ministered to Jesus? Well, you might say Mary and Martha did, because Martha took care of physical needs and Mary sat at his feet learning. But Jesus even corrected Martha because she was doing her work in the flesh. And Mary, I'm sure, it was good for Jesus because he found her heart teachable and he loved that. But it really minister to him. Then there was a little boy with the loaves and the fishes, and that must have meant a lot to Jesus, that he would give all that he had and love people. Then there were the disciples. Did they minister to Jesus, or were they more concerned about themselves? Even when Jesus was going to the cross and he asked his disciples to pray with him, they couldn't even watch for 1 hour. The one person that I felt like really ministered to Jesus was Mary, and it was Lazarus' sister, Mary. And the Bible says in Matthew and John that Mary brought a flask of oil. When Jesus was in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper, a woman came to him having an alabaster flask of very costly fragrant oil, and she poured it on his head, and he sat at the table. But when his disciples saw it, they were indignant, saying, "Why this waste? For this fragrant oil might have been sold for much and given to the poor." But when Jesus was aware of it, he said to them, "Why do you trouble the woman? For she has done a good work for me. For you have the poor with you always, but me you do not always have. For in pouring this fragrant oil on my body, she did it for my burial. Assuredly, I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a memorial to her." That was 2,000 years ago, and this story is still being preached. It's been a fulfillment of what Jesus said. But Mary brought, some people say, a year's wages worth of oil, fragrant oil. She took the risk as a woman coming into a room filled with men and went to Jesus and poured out this oil on Jesus. It was a sacrificial act of love. She wanted to minister to Jesus, and she gave what she had. I know this ministered to Jesus. In John it says that Judas was the one who led the questioning. Why waste this oil? We could have sold it and fed the poor. And some of the other disciples jumped in with Judas. But Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She has prepared me for my burial." And I bet Mary didn't even know why she was doing what she did. She had so much love in her heart that she wanted to give it to Jesus and minister to him. You know, it's hard in October if your church doesn't minister to you, but is that because we have expectations of the church? We hate, as pastors' wives, when the church has expectations of us. But do we have expectations of the church? That's what we need to check in our heart. We can look at Jesus and know that he ministers to us all the time. But how can we minister to Jesus? What have we got? What can we offer? What can we give sacrificially to Jesus? Instead of looking inward, let's look outward. What can we give? What can we bring to the King of Kings and minister to Him? It may even be that we minister to His bride as a sacrificial love for Him. Thank you for joining me today.